Welcome back, and today we are playing out the F9F Cougar. Now I think this is the closest thing we're going to get to the Hornet in terms of a subsonic jet, because all this thing really is high AOA, high speed bleed, mediocre acceleration, and that's about it. Because it accelerates about the same as something like an F86A5, while topping out slightly lower, but that's not the main issue. You can't keep this thing fast because you bleed all of your speed away in an instant, as well as the fact that it locks up really severely the second you hit about 900 kilometers an hour. You cannot keep this thing fast, and that's an issue because the acceleration, just like with the A5, isn't really there. You can combat bad acceleration with a decent top speed, and the top speed isn't all that bad, but because you can't keep it fast, if you actually want to shoot anyone down, it becomes a little bit of a nuisance. So I opted to just run the AIM-9Bs. I'm not going to be going for top speed anyway. The missiles might not be that fantastic, but at 8.3 together with the 4 A&M3s, you might actually be able to get a few frags in, because that's really the play of the game here. You just want to get as many kills as quickly as you can, and you don't want to get stuck into 1v1s with battle planes. You have to fly this thing like a bit of a rat, because if the enemy doesn't just fly directly into your guns or pretend that they don't see your missiles, so you can get 5 kills in the first minute of the match, you are just kinda shit out of luck. Now we have a J29F on our 6 here, and because of the high speed bleed, together with the high AOA, it means that we can kind of pull over his nose and just wait for him to overshoot. Just look how easy it is. I don't have to bleed any extra speed, we just kind of pull in front of him. And because we are slower and we lose more speed and we pull high AOA, he ends up getting his ass cheek spread directly in our face. Now, you can try to get prolonged dogfights in this thing, and if you really want to do that, just make sure that you always get inside of the circle. You don't want them to go into raid. You want to try to force the one circle simply because you are slower, and hopefully they shoot out in front of you. Now, if they go prolonged and if they go into raid, or if they go into the 2 circle or whatever, you're basically just lost. If you compare the F9, F8 to something like the F86, F25, you're looking at about the same discrepancy as you would when you compared the F25 to the MiG-15 bis. Now the MiG-15 bis is a little bit further ahead of the F25 than the F25 is in front of the F9F. But keep in mind, the F9F is already going to rinse you, and most of the time you are going to be fighting MiG-15 bis, MiG-17s, as well as sometimes CO-13Bs and F-40 Sabres, and these planes are not very fun to fight because they just do everything better than you. Now when you do get these guys on your 6, you better start praying that they are the same guy as the one that we are about to fight. Now we have an F-40 that is above us and he's gonna dive on us. Now what are we gonna do? We're gonna close the loop as quick as he can. We pull straight in, and we try to already pre-turn to where he is going to be. And because he's diving on us, because he's going faster, we will instantly be on a 6. But he is now going to be much faster than us, and he is just going to leave. And that's the thing he should do. Now I do have 4 AIM-9B, so I'm just hoping that he flies straight for a bit so I can shoot them off. I don't want to dump them, I don't want to drop them, because I feel like they come in handy later on into the match. So I just shoot one off to just get rid of the weight and the drag. He dodges it, because of course he does, he has eyes. But now I'm kind of on the 6, and I'm just going to be shooting 1, 2, maybe 3 missiles off if I can, but he starts turning in a little bit earlier. So I'm just going to follow him. This is a death trap, but if I go down, I give him too much room. So I'm trying to stay as close to him as I can, so he doesn't have the opportunity to create distance and simply break off and pull back in. And here, we drop the landing flaps. We are just trying to wrap this up as quickly as we can. We go into a little bit of a sizzle motion, and because of that, the flaps help. He ends up shooting out in front, we take his plane apart, and it's mainly due to the fact that the F-40 flew that not ideally. But that's how you have to beat these things. You have to close the distance, you have to try to stick to them, and if they create distance, if they just leave, you are probably going to end up back in a hangar before the game actually ends. Let's take a look at some more representable gameplay, I guess, where you kind of just fly around and you try to pick your fights. Target prioritization in this thing is very important, as you don't want to run into a group that all mocks you on their own. Now if they are of course on their own and you have to jump on them, you might be able to kill them, but even then it is kind of dangerous, because if you miss your shot, you are probably going to end up in a montage. So be careful, don't make it go prolonged, bring your A game, because this plane really doesn't appreciate it when you make a mistake. Now we dive on the F100, easy picking, and now we have a Q5 on a 6, and a Q5 is going to be a bit of an issue. We are again on a high altitude map, and planes like this really don't appreciate it. We just kind of pull in, we hope that he flies on, and he does so because my squad mate goes for him. So we go head on with the MiG-15, he dodges my rounds, we recommit, and we miss again. Absolutely incredible. Now this is what I meant, we are kind of surrounded, it's 3 versus 4. But my third guy is about to get blown up and Vodka is occupied, so it's actually kind of 3v1, so I'm just gonna leave for now. I hope that one of them leaves. Vodka kills the Q5 early, he has a MiG-15 aggroed on him and he can sustain that fight. So I'm gonna drag away Mr. Miku Numbers over here to the other side of this mountain. Yes, it's a mountain. And we just kind of pull him away. You don't want to have multiple guys at the same time, you're probably going to get clapped. So let's pull him away a little bit and see if we can reverse him. The answer is a wholehearted no, at least most of the time. There are still some things that you can try to do to improve your odds, and that's what we are going to do right here. I don't see a real reason to go too fast because we will lock up anyway, so I'm going to try to just turn in here the second he gets close enough. We dodge the shot here because we know he can't really roll, and even if he were to air brake, he should be overshooting. We pull over him, we wait above his nose, and eventually he will get directly in front of us. Now what he has to do here is pull in quickly, but he gave me a bit of room, making it so that I have a pretty easy time lining up the shot. He goes super slow, he stalls out in front of us, and we gun him down right on the spot. What you do there as the MiG-15 is that you kind of have to keep turning into a direction. When you hang yourself, you will probably end up dead. And in War Thunder, it's no exception. It's the same thing in props. And I see people hammerheading all the time, but if you hammerhead someone within a kilometer, you just make yourself a very easy target. Even little Timmy with his level 2 in his Harrier Premium will gun you down when you are literally hanging in place. Don't make yourself so slow when you have a plane that will outperform your enemies so extensively. Now if you are flying the F9F against the MiG-15 and you have this position where if you go straight up, there's a very slight chance that you will hammerhead him right there, drop on top of him, and you might get the shot on the way down, then I understand it. But if the roles are reversed, you don't want to do that. And I have another example in the next clip. Not this game, but the game after this one. Vodka, in the meantime, has been spending running away from the MiG-15s, and that's why I said I know he will handle himself. So he has just been running around, the MiG-15s are chasing him, and now we are able to come back and help him. And this is kind of the gameplay loop of the F9F. You pull a guy away, you 1v1 him, you probably die, and if you don't, you will come back in a little bit later when people kind of forget you exist and get some free, easy kills. We get behind the MiG-15. I don't want to be shooting from this steep angle, so I'm just kind of trying to get in a little bit more behind him. But then this guy starts turning and I want to chase him, so I'm going to shoot a missile off regardless. So he is off Vodka, and now I am on Onyx Man in his other MiG-15. Now we are not going to be conserving our missiles. I want to get rid of some weight, and the game at this point has been well transitioned into the point where there's only a couple guys left, so the missiles aren't going to be that important anymore. Underlead a little bit there, overlead a little bit there, and then we line it up and take off his wingtip. And that is, I think, going to be kill number 4. And that is the average gameplay loop of the F9F. But we're not done yet. This F9F is still going to be goring someone else. The MiG-15 is flying around with one wing, and we are of course not going to allow that. So we pitch down, we tap him, we set him on fire, and we get a severe. And then another MiG-15 shows up. Now luckily they all come in one by one, because otherwise I'd be having a bit of an issue right now. So what do? We get a bit of speed up, we try to get under him, and we're just gonna roll out of the way and pull back in and try to make him overshoot instantly. So what do? Exactly that. We roll out of the way, we go up and over, we use the AOA to slow down, and he kisses a tree. Incredible. I'm gonna kill that, or call that kill number 5. And here for the last game, we're gonna show you the absolute meme that is this damage model. Because a singular tap to the elevator, if one of the elevators turns red, and I'm not even talking about the part that moves, I'm talking about the stabilizer part itself, you will lose about 80% of your turning performance, just like that. So try to avoid getting hit at all costs, but of course this is another full up tier, because there is the J-32B, and it's a plane that's not particularly fun to fight in this thing. Not like any up tier is fun, but when you are the slow energy bleeding monster, and you are fighting the fast energy generating monster, you might see where the issue comes from. J32B flies away, we missile him, just trying to get rid of weight yet again. I'm trying to get like 1 or 2 missiles off so I can at least have some missiles, but they don't hinder me as much. Everyone flies away from me, I can't really stick with any of them, so I just roll on over and spread my cheeks basically, because now I give my 6 to the entire enemy team. I shoot the first missile, I'm still a little bit high AOA, so the missile doesn't end up tracking. I have to shoot another one, and this time he's actually looking, so the missile ends up missing. And when I say spread my cheeks, what I mean is that I now have the entire enemy team behind me. We now don't have an energy advantage anymore, and my game is essentially over. At least for the most part. Luckily I have some teammates around. So what are we gonna do? We are gonna try to follow the G91Y because he's about to be pressured by someone else. And I really want him out of the match. He turns in front of us, we line it up, we squeeze the trigger, and down he goes. And that is going to be kill number 1. Now it does cost us 4 missiles, all my energy, and a few of my cannon rounds. But you know, I'll take it considering that plane will absolutely rinse me. We pull up over the J2, we roll out of the way, if even barely. And then we just send it up after him. I thought I was going to get the shot here, but I miss it unfortunately. And now I'm like, I'm just going to send it. I need to kill this guy. But then the other guy shows up. I saw him on the map. He's going head on. And we are going 240 kilometers an hour. And this is why I always say, never go head on with someone that is going to kph. I have nothing to lose. If I dodge there, I get a 50-50. Whereas if you dodge, you will probably just outright kill me. And I know there's a lot of guys that are new to the game and they just want to get the kill as quick as possible. But going full commit head on a guy that's going 50 kilometers an hour is never worth it. Just dodge the guy, loop on over and kill him. It doesn't take any skill. All you need to do is not take the head on with a plane that is slower. Especially if it has more guns and especially if the plane is worse than yours. He basically had everything stacked against him to go head on there. And he did it anyway. So I hope someone at least learned from that. In the meantime, we are flying around with basically one elevator. This is full pool, just to show you how bad it is. And we're going to get another guy that wants to go head on. Now this guy doesn't actually know that we are crit. But still, if someone shoots that many rounds from that far away, you haven't even started to shoot it yourself, why are you still pulling in? I don't really understand it. Now we repair, we rearm, and we go back into the furball at the end of the match. And now it's a smaller match. But I'm gonna be preaching the same thing again. Even if you are on the worst plane, you can't fight when you're dead. So you don't have to go head on with everyone. So we turn behind the J2 here. He is gonna die. He's already crit by us. So we're gonna shoot the missile. We're gonna aim it slightly up. Hits him. It's a severe. And then what do? We go for the J34. Now the J34 has the better plane here. But even then, I am not gonna suicide into the head-on. As long as I have a fighting chance. Now if I'm going super slow, it's a different story. If it's 2v1 for example. But here I have a very big likelihood that I'm able to dodge him. So we do so. We dodge the head-on. We turn back in. I notice that he starts turning as well. Because he probably wants to go towards my teammates. We take a decently long range shot. We miss all of our rounds. And then we line it up. Get a little bit behind him. But he keeps turning. So I can't really line the missile up at all. And then he starts turning in front of us, flies perfectly straight and gives us a pretty nice shot. He's crit and he's dead, all because we dodged the head-on. And now we look for the last 2 guys. I believe there's only one that's actually alive, the other one is AFK or something, I'm not entirely sure, but there's only one guy left. I just saw it on the scoreboard, I know, but I wasn't able to actually see it because I'm looking at a pretty small screen here, okay, I'm doing everything by memory. Oh, he's actually dead, never mind. And there he is, it's a G91Y, and the G91Y does have AA-20 Nords, which I don't want to go head on with, so we prime up the missile, we shoot it off, and we again dodge the head-on. Now he flies under us, we have a C-Vixen there, but I don't think the C-Vixen is actually going to be very helpful. So we are basically alone with a G91Y, and if he gets past the head-on, we die. So I'm gonna take it, because I'm going way too slow to sustain a fight with him. I'm going to get the shot first, I can spray way before he does. If he pulls into this, he's an absolute